time is just gone 9:37 a.m. and yesterday we covered briefly talking about 16 days of activism, and this is violence against women and children. And this morning we're talking with hashtag Not In My Name International, and we're talking to activists with Not In My Name. We're talking with Themba Masango. Themba, good morning to you. Thank you for your time and welcome to the show.
Assalamu alaikum, my brother. Thank you so much for having us on your show this morning. First, you are aware.
Salam. Yes. Now, I see there is an activity that is taking place today, a meeting at Church Square, and that was due to take place at 9 a.m. this morning at Shwani House.
100%, my brother. In fact, we are there in our numbers. We are moving to go to Shwani House. Today we'll be highlighting the plight of women in the informal sector. You will know that 68% of South African women actually work in the informal sector, and they are very marginalized. They do not even have places to do their work properly, no ablution facilities. The sector is not formalized at all. Many of them, suffer a lot of abuse through the hands of people abusing them on the streets. And Swami has been saying since 2016 that they'll give them a place and they'll make sure that the sector is recognized. Till today, it has not been, and which is a form of financial exclusion, which is a major form of abuse, because a woman who is not financially emancipated automatically falls prey to all the other forms of abuse that we're facing in this country.
Yes, when it comes to initiatives like this, 60 days of activism, and in many instances, we focus on certain areas because it talks about violence against women and children. Yet we forget there are other challenges, like, for instance, where you're talking about justice for these women, the informal, those that are in the informal sector, Themba.
Yes, sir. Exactly. Many times we focus on the, overt part of abuse, the beatings and, the verbal abuse and so on. And we forget that financial abuse is actually one of the biggest forms of abuses. And that is the reason why we are standing up and wanting to advocate for the rights of the women in the informal sector, because they make up a lot of the financial sector in the country. They are the women who actually do a lot of buying. For example, the Joburg market makes 40 million rand a day just off of the buying of stock by the ladies of the informal sector. They really need to be taken care of.
Yes. Now, today's event, what can be expected?
So today we are there. We're expecting plus minus 500 people who will be marching with us, and we'll be going down to the Tshwane. We're expecting to meet with the mayor or the NMC, who's in charge of social development, and they must give us a clear plan of action and a way forward.
Yes. Now, Themba, obviously this is just an event, but I'm sure you've had engagements in the past with the authorities that matter. And just looking at some of these engagements and what could have come out of it or what didn't come out of it, what are some of the critical issues that the powers that be, that the authorities need to consider?
What really needs to happen is that the powers that we need to understand that the 16 days of activism cannot be a 10-day only thing from the 25th of November to the 10th of December, and you're just ticking off a political box. It needs to be 365 comprehensive attack on gender-based violence in our communities, and make sure that this thing actually goes to the ground where it's intended. Unlike last year, where the president threw 1 billion rand at the problem, until today, we don't know what happened with the money that was given. It has not reached the ground. People are still sitting in, offices that are air conditioned. They've got all the policies on their desk, but these solutions don't get onto the ground. And that is why we have taken a stance to say we're going to do our thing outside of government, and we are going to make sure that we do our best to fight this challenge.
Yes, and also I think when one looks at government, there's been a lot of talk. We've seen parliamentary addresses. We've seen the president of the country addressing this matter, saying that we need to address it in a serious light. But again, it comes to not only events like this, like you mentioned, it's got to go beyond. It's got to be a concerted, it's got to be an ongoing effort. And that is something that we are not seeing, Themba.
Exactly. So it has, you are saying it has to go beyond the 16 days of activism. And not only that, there has to be accountability to it. We need to make sure that it's not just talk and talk and talk. Talk is very cheap. We have to make sure that on a daily basis we are fighting this, just like we are fighting the coronavirus. We need to vaccinate men from being abusers.
Yes, Themba, we thank you. We do appreciate you taking time out and talking to us this morning. We wish you well for the event today and also going into the future. And we trust and hope that whatever the objectives are, whatever you've set out to achieve will be achieved ultimately. And please take care. Have yourself a wonderful day, a great Friday, inshallah.
Thank you.
That was Themba Masango joining us this morning, Not In My Name International, 16 Days of Activism. Today, Friday at 9 a.m., the meeting at Church Square at Ashwani House. And it's all about women in action. It's all about justice for informal traders and also looking ahead at beyond 16 days of activism and not only focusing on these 16 days. And for many of us, as we mentioned, the activism is not only about violence, and there is that obviously is blatant, that is open, but there are other forms of injustices that are being carried out against women and children, and those need to be addressed as well. The time is just gone, 9:44 a.m. We come back. We're going to be talking with PSA coordinator, and they are affiliated to the SABDS coalition. We're talking with Nazim Adam. We're talking about Walk for Freedom for Palestine.
Looking to get your kick? Kiki's have now reopened.